Tell you how happy you make me and how proud you make me for being here. It means a lot. Good friends, people I play tennis with, people I write with, people I interface in different other ways with. So thank you very much for being here. Before I start, I want to ask Brian to say a few words about the Lilliputaxen Review. Brian is the president of the Lilliputaxen board, and the Lilliputaxen Review is a publication that I think we should sponsor because it is a local publication, in my opinion, of excellent quality. So, Brian, if you don't mind, just a few words. You want? No?
Yeah, I'll talk.
Okay.
Oh, I delegate it to George, because he's the best talker. Anyway, the Lilliputaxen Review, you can go in its current form for nearly 20 years. And this is the current edition. We got Phyllis, George, Alex, we're all on the board. Anyone else on the board here? So
I don't think so.
Okay, so we all work together. We meet every month and we work making sure we got the funds we need to make another edition. So we have 2 editions a year. We have a editorial staff that review over 800 submissions in a 6-month period, ready for the next edition. It is poetry, it is fiction, it's non-fiction, it's art, as you can see, interviews. That's why it's a Lilliputaxen Review, because it surely is a review, and we're really proud to have Alex on our board and actually publishing a book, which is really brilliant. So support this, but even more importantly, support Alex.
Trust me, I really thought about what I'll say today, and it was a process. So when I told Vicky what I wanted to do, she said, no, it will be boring. Much better if somebody asks you a few questions. And our friend Debbie agreed to ask me a few questions about the book and about the process and my life and whatever else. And I will answer those questions, and there'll be interruptions, and if you want to ask questions, please ask the questions. But before I start, I wanted to thank Vicky. Where is she?
Right here. Right there.
And Debbie and Michael. Michael is the guy over there controlling the drinks.
Yeah.
They came with the idea of setting this up, and they spared no effort in getting it organized, including the food, with Eastern European touch, to give you a real taste about the countries I write about, of the country, okay? And the wine, and even the napkins. I don't know if you saw the napkins.
Yeah.
They have a very
Love the
nice
napkins.
message apropos to this event. So, that's it. I'll answer questions.
Okay. So, Alex, what's the genesis of the novel, and how did it come together? Is this your first book?
No, it is not my first book. And the genesis of this one is, I would call it family lore. I grew up with, well, my entire adult life, I carried this idea of writing this novel. But I did not want to hurry into it, and I wanted to have the time to do it right, and I also wanted to have the experience to describe an entire society, an entire way of life. In the beginning, I wanted to combine my family story with Vicky's family story, and 4.5 years after I started, and 1,400 pages later, I realized that the manuscript was too long for me to sell it anywhere unless I managed to change my name to, say, Barack Obama. So then I separated the 2 stories and rewrote it. That took another year and a half, and that's it. That's the genesis of it.
Mm-hmm. And what in this story is fiction and what is based on reality?
Most of it is a mixture of the two. For instance, in the book I have scenes from World War II. I was not alive at that time, so of course that is a lot based on my imagination. there are some scenes of marital infidelity. I can assure you that at our family dinners, we did not talk about that. So again, that was something that I came up with. And the details in those spicy scenes are my fault. Others are very true. I have a scene or a chapter in the book in which I describe a family traveling by car from Romania to Yalta in Crimea, and then being arrested by the Russian Soviet Union police on the way back. I can tell you, I was in that cell. So I was there. So that's the answer.
So let's talk a little bit about you. When did you start writing? What have you written? Why is writing so important to you?
Well, first of all, some people know me for a long time, so they know my story, and some don't. I started writing when I was in high school, and I published my first short story at age 18 in a prestigious Bucharest literary magazine. And that was perhaps my first mistake. Because the writing bug entered inside me, it became part of me. At age 24, I married Vicky. Vicky at that time was an Israeli citizen, and that gave me the opportunity to leave Romania. We went to Israel together, and then from there, via Greece, we came to the United States as political refugees in 1977. We ended up in New York. And as some of you can imagine, New York is an overwhelming place unless you have a lot of money, which we did not. And so the first years were harder. I was busy with the new life, and I did not write. But the bug was in me, and almost every night I was thinking about writing. And then at some point I started writing again in Romanian, and as luck had it, 1989, 12 years after we came to the States, Romania changed, the regime in Romania changed. Ceausescu was killed. By the way, there is a picture of Ceausescu and his wife on the TV, so you can see him. And then I published a few novels in Romania. And my first English, the first novel that I wrote in English is called Planet New York, and that came out in 2000. And then a second novel that I published in English is called No Portrait in the Gilded Frame, 2015. Now, I wrote in the meantime, but not significant for this audience. And then I retired from my day job, and that's when I started writing The Last Patient, 2015.
So what are the main themes, and why would your novel about something that happened decades ago on a different continent be relevant to the American reader today?
You know what? It's a tough question, but it's a very important question. And I will answer it in this way. When I started writing, I did not think about the question of relevance. But today, I realize that it is more relevant today than ever. Let me start by saying that in my interaction with my American friends, they always wondered about two things. One was, well, it's not the wonder. They always said, you must have been extremely unhappy living in communism, and how happy you must be because you escaped and you came to the United States. The second comment was, how come you Romanians did not revolt? And to the first comment, I would think that this book will describe how in communism it was possible to live a life like human beings live everywhere. They were happy, they were sad, they were able to have dalliances, to drink too much, to love, to have children, just like everywhere else. So just because the regime up there is of a certain type doesn't mean that you are absolutely 100% all the time unhappy. The second part is why we didn't revolt, and I think that if I look at the political system today, and I see the billionaires, and I see the managers of huge corporations, the lawyers, the law firms, the universities, all bending down to the whims of one man, and nobody is saying no. I think that the Americans now will understand why we did not revolt. A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity, the privilege to speak at an NAACP event. I think, Brian, you were there with me. And they were talking about banned books. And I was talking about my book, my novel, and about what was banned in Romania in the communist time, when I was growing up. Books were banned. Movies were banned. Rock and roll was banned. Abortions were banned. Contraceptives were banned. Travel was banned. The right to assembly was banned. The right to make fun of the people in the government was banned. The right to question the big man was banned. So we start seeing certain signs of those interdictions today over here. Banned books all over the place. So there is a lot that you can learn by reading my book. And this happened to me a few days ago when we learned that Stephen Colbert's show was canceled. I said, he was most probably criticized somebody he shouldn't have. But at least they didn't arrest him. In Romania, they would have not only arrested, most probably they would have killed him. I remember that. And then I said to myself, well, they didn't arrest him, not yet. And then I remember a joke, and most probably, maybe you know it, with an optimist and a pessimist. Does everybody know this joke?
No.
The pessimist says, it's so bad, it cannot get any worse. And the optimist says, but it can. You will see that it can get much worse. And finally, I think that as a measure of a universal message in the book that should interest the Americans is the fact that there is always a struggle between personal aspirations, the desire to become somebody, to achieve, and love. Love of family, love of children, love of country. Think about leaving Romania, a country that we love, because whatever reason it is. So I think that is a universal value, and that is explored in the book as well. So these are reasons the book is relevant in my opinion.
Any last thoughts? Not last thoughts. Any other thoughts?
Is there more?
Okay. I'll tell you. I don't have last thoughts. I have one request. If you read my book, and if you like it, spread the word. Recommend it to your friends. Give it to your book clubs. Write something on social media. Put a review. This will help me, and without that, the book will slowly disappear. But
Alex?
if you support me, who knows?
Alex,
Yes.
that's all I wanted.
Thank you very much.
Any questions? Okay.
When's the next one coming out?
Well, actually, you remember that I said that I started writing a combined story of my family history and Vicky's family history. Vicky's family history is based on the life of, let's say, a Jewish family in Romania during the war and after the war. That story is now accepted for publication, and it's due to appear. It's called, this is a tentative title, in black and white, and it's supposed to come out in the first trimester of 2026.
Yay!
Other questions? Comments?
Great book.
Alex, are you going to do a reading for us from the book?
Not today.
But Alex books will be doing a reading and will be appearing at a local bookstore.
Oh yeah, the Barnes and Nobles in Ellicott City.
Wow.
It's not yet. It will be most probably in October because we are going to be away.
But you will let everyone know?
Yeah, but if they bought my book already,
They can still come.
yeah, sure. And I would go to any book club. If you have book clubs, I would be very happy to talk to people about my book. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.